Let's get ready to rumble!
Benzinga Nation jam-packed show today. Peloton of 5%.
What's up, disciplined investor?
We got Benzinga CEO Jason Raznick here with us.
The man, the myth, the legend, Tom Nash.
Peter Schiff on the Power Hour with us live today. Interesting, different, unique, innovative companies. Mia, you are live with us on the Power Hour. What's up?
Thank you so much for inviting me on.
Jessica Billingsley, that is the CEO of Akerna, the best trade idea resource out there. Boom! What's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday! Yep, we're doing a couple things different today. You'll notice that I am sitting here in a different room. I got booted to the studio room. I don't know if you guys saw that awesome interview that Jason just did with Sandy Monroe, one of like the true forces behind the mobility industry. But they took all my stage equipment, so I'm off into a side room. I don't get to walk around and shout and all that. And then number two, we're starting a little bit later so we can give some love to our SPAC guys. But what's going on, everybody? You are now here with us on the Power Hour. This is the Trade Idea Show. For the next 60 minutes, we have one goal, which is to be delivering, to be hammering on trade ideas. We don't want there to be a better resource out there for you all to get trade ideas. And I'm going to say this as well. Ideas not just coming from myself, not just coming from our guests, but most importantly, coming from all of you out there in Zinger Nation. So if you guys have stocks that you're watching, you've got tickers on your radar, symbols we should be checking out, drop them in the chat. First question of the day, a serious one. You still have the air horn? Nope, there's no air horn in this room either. No soundboard. All right, I'm running it solo. Up ahead on our agenda for the day, I've got my items written down here. Of course, we're going to be doing a little bit of GME and a little bit of AMC talk. A tough day for a couple of those names. So we'll be talking about those in just a minute. Now I'm going to be joined with Frank Curzio. He's got ideas that he's ready to drop. He knows the point of the show, and he's coming prepared. And then in about 30 minutes or so, we're going to be bringing Shadow Trader onto the show as well. So we're going to have a lot of people who are a lot smarter than me on today, which is, I think, always a good thing for all of us. So, all right, guys. First things first, though, I am going to drop into the chat a question. I just want to get a sense of where everybody's at with these. But if you own either GameStop or AMC, drop me a 1 in the chat. If you don't have a position in either, give me the 2. I want to see how Zinger Nation is standing. Are you guys trading in and out of these positions? Are you diamond handsing them? I don't know, but let's get that going. Let's smash that like button. And without further ado, I'm going to be bringing our first guest onto the stream. Frank, what's going on, man?
Hey, thanks for having me back on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I mean, you have such a good background, right? You have a good background. You have good trade ideas. We have to have you on. That's the winning combo. It's the 1-2.
The background is much more important now.
Yeah. And wait, what's the Eagles dealy, Bob?
Big Eagles fan. So I actually went to the Super Bowl, watched that game, which I was nervous about because they were underdogged and one of the best experience ever. So yeah, I've been an Eagles fan for a real long time. And somebody, actually a Dallas Cowboy fan, bought me that. So which was really nice of them.
I'm a Lions fan, so I don't have any Lions Super Bowl experiences. But my best Super Bowl experience ever, I was at the Seattle airport during one of the Super Bowls that Seattle was in. Mm-hmm. It was mayhem. I thought there was going to be rioting inside the airport terminal. It was amazing.
It's a great experience. If your favorite team makes it, spend the money to go. It'll be one of the greatest experiences of your life. Awesome. Especially if they win, right? Especially if they win.
Yeah, and if they don't, you take my dad's approach. He taught me from a young age is you always bet against your team. So even if they lose, you made $100.
That's good. Well, yes and no. I mean, if they're getting points, they could still lose, and you lose your bet, right?
Those were bad. Yeah, those were bad Sundays at the Jacobi household growing up. We had a few of those. But Frank, what's going on in the markets today, man? What are you looking at? How are you feeling? What's on your radar?
Okay, I'll be honest with you. I have lots of trading ideas, but this inflation argument I've been making, I'm not an inflation bug. I know there's people been saying there's going to be inflation since the 70s, 80s, 90s, but about 2 months ago, I really sounded alarm on this because the CPI is the index that the Fed uses to look at where inflation is going, and it's designed. It was built in whatever Reagan created it, where it almost designed to never ever show inflation. That was showing inflation. So now inflation is at a 25-year high. Everybody's raising prices. You have GDP over 7%, right? Home prices at record highs, stock market record highs, commodities record highs, and the Fed right now should be pulling back a little bit, but they're not. It's still pedal to the metal, low interest rates. Still, I mean, unemployment is basically zero, right? Because there's 9.3 million jobs available, and it was 9.2 million people on unemployment. It's a dangerous scenario because the Fed can't just make this go away. It's the only way they could solve that problem is by forcing a recession, raising interest rates, stop pumping money to the kids. It's not like the credit crisis; just throw money at it, will be fine. It's something you have to be concerned about. I feel like we're surrounded by ships from China, and we're just like, oh, I think it's going to be transit. I think it's going to be okay. We'll be fine. If it's not fine, you're going to see a lot of these names get hit. For now, everything is really, really great into the rest of this year. But I'm hoping that the Fed does the right thing, and they may have to look to raise interest rates, which when they do at the beginning stage, stocks still go higher. But for them to really be pedal off the metal right now with everything that they look at, all the inflation we see around us, guys, you see it everywhere with everything you're buying. That's my only risk of the market. Other than that, everything looks great. Earnings are surging. Analysts are underestimating the potential of earnings going in the next couple of quarters. They're going to surge as well as revenue. So it's going to create a lot of good opportunities.
All right, there we go. And you said you have some plays as well, some trade ideas. Why don't you drop us a couple of those? And if you have charts you want to share too, you can do that. If not, I can be the chart master.
If you want to be a chart master, that's cool. I usually share through my software. So, but I would say Turning Point Brands is a really under the radar name. So this is a company that actually sells vapor products. And in 2019, we know what happened with the vapor industry. What was THC, right? So it was a small batch.
And give me a ticker on Turning Point.
So Turning Point is TPB.
TPB. Tango
Yeah,
Papa
I say
Bravo.
nice and slow
Somebody drop it
because
in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, if I say too fast, it's like TPB. What is it? So anyways, it's TPB. But so this is a company I've been following for a while. 2019, it got crushed because there was like some kid created a bad batch, added too much vitamin E, it killed a couple of kids. And you know what the government does? They went crazy on the industry with Juul and Philip Morris just invested a big stake in Juul. A lot of these things got killed. These guys are a major player in the field. It's a major division. So what the government did is they came in and said, wait, they have a special licensing process. So every single vapor product that you sell is going to cost to go through this system around $250,000 to $300,000, which eliminates about 80% of the small retail companies because these guys are generating maybe a few $100,000, even $1 million. And once you go through that process, you had to file before September 30th. Mm-hmm. Turning Point Brands is an $8 billion company. They have 250 products, and this process is called PMTA. I won't get too technical. And they file 250 of their products. They're going to be the main player in vaping, which is a huge market. You see it every place.
Huge industry.
Massive. And, the stock has gotten hit a little bit because we saw, during COVID and those numbers, and they had to get all those filings September 30th. So they weren't really allowed to sell those vapor products. So you're going to see revenue for that division kind of flat. Now you're going to see it absolutely explode. It's probably going to account for 60-70% of their total business. Right now it counts for about 30%. And it's not factored in. Listen, there's people out there, like my dad died of lung cancer. I get it when people have, vice stocks and you don't want to invest in some of these. I get it. But my job is to provide you good ideas. This is under the radar right now. There's not a lot of analysts that are covering it. And you're going to see earnings explode. You're going to see revenues explode. And all because the government, right, is basically eliminating the rest of that competition because people can't afford to go through this licensing process.
Okay, so that's interesting. So this is a long-term play for you, or like what is the time horizon? Right now I have a 2-year chart up. I'll zoom it in a little bit. Here's a 1-year chart, daily candles. What are you looking at on this thing?
It's not a long term. It is a great long-term play, but you're going to see sales explode probably next quarter. And okay. You saw that the current quarter. So 2 quarters ago, they missed. You saw the stock come down a little bit. And now that's why I like it at this level, getting a nice discount to where from as high as about 15-20%. And the last quarter they reported was very, very good. So you're seeing those sales ramp up. The next couple of quarters are going to be fantastic. So 3 to 6 months, you're going to see sales explode, earnings explode for this company. And then long term, I do like it. But even as a trade over the next couple of months, again, these meme stocks go up 100% in a couple of days, and people looking for quick ones. This is going to take probably about just a few months or a quarter where you'll see this thing really ramp a lot higher from here.
Okay, awesome. I like it. And let me ask you this one. Let's say the thesis isn't right. What are you looking for to get out of the trade? Let's say it's going against you.
That's a great question, right? Because nobody really talks about that. For me, it's I want to see sales, and I saw sales last quarter, which is why I like this. I saw sales within that division go high. That's my thesis. If your thesis change, one of the hardest things to do in investing, I've been doing this 25 years, is to change your mind of a dime. Mm-hmm. Stocks don't have feelings, right? They don't care about you. And a lot of people, when you do that, you're admitting that you're wrong, and everybody hates to admit when they're wrong, especially my wife. But so that's the toughest process. So if I see sales not growing that fast next quarter, if it took a step back, or, I'm listening to management on the conference call, then I might take another look. But right now, pedal to the metal, I really like this name. I think as of last quarter, that was my confirmation, and you're seeing it start to ramp higher. I think it's going to go a lot higher from here.
Awesome. I like it. All right, boom, guys. If I had an air horn today, I'd be smashing the air horn right now. I don't. I'm off in this side room, but we'll get the air horn back tomorrow. So, all right, there's the first one, Frank. Do you have other tickers you want to drop?
I do. Another one would be Wrap. So This is an interesting company. They have a new device, and I'm a boots on the ground guy.
Wait.
WRAP.
There we go.
WRAP. It's gonna be a fun chart, and I'll have all the charts for you next time. That's great that you can incorporate that. So this company has a Batman-like device that you shoot it and it wraps you, and it shoots like a gun as fast as it's gonna wrap you.
Wait, what?
Now 2 years ago is when they came out with this product, and I went to New York City in this guy's great guy, this guy's got Cohen in his building, and I got shot by this device. And I showed everybody. You can see that on our website, CurzioResearch.com. I got shot by this device. And I interviewed some of the top chiefs of police there. And now they've been through this whole entire process. You're seeing up and down. It's kind of like Taser when Taser was first getting adopted. You have to go through a whole training process. They have it in 400 plus police departments right now. And now you're seeing this being used in the field. Even if you go on their website, today was another wrap. And, with everything going on in the world today, regardless of what side you're on, right? It's, the last thing a cop wants to do is take out his gun. This de-escalates the situation. So this is something where if someone has a knife or if someone's just coming at you, you could shoot them. Instead, the other option is you have a gun and you're protecting yourself. And that's where things get crazy. And there's lawsuits everywhere and it gets nuts. This is something the whole entire world is looking at. They're international now. They went through the training process. They have to train officers, which was slowed down due to COVID. Now it's ramping up, and you're seeing these things being used time and time again. To me, this is a company that could become the next Taser. And right now is an inflection point for me, because now you're going to see these orders really start pouring in. I covered Taser in
we had
single
these
digits.
videos up on the screen. I mean, this is awesome.
I got shot by that thing.
Did it hurt? Well, okay, tell me.
It didn't really hurt. I had, a sweatshirt on, but it was funny because
Did you fall?
No, you don't fall. It just wraps you up and it stuns you because it's a gunshot. And it's like, and before you know it, they're jumping on you and tackling you, right? Which they didn't do to me, but that's
all right. That would have helped
the
video. Take two. Make sure you have somebody ready to jump on you.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing is pretty awesome. I don't know if we can buy one of these for the Benzinga office, but we would have a lot of fun with this.
It's gonna probably be available to consumers too soon, I think. But yeah, I'm looking at the video now. But it's been an up and down ride. It went to 14 right away, got a little ahead of itself, has come down. But now you're seeing it ramp higher, and you're going to see sales coming in. And that's the last step. What I saw with Taser when I covered it back in the day in single digits. Once you see these orders coming in for 100, 300, they're testing at LA police departments around the world. They're starting to get these orders in, and you're going to see revenue really, really ramp up, which is what everyone's waiting for. Took a little bit longer than expected, but now they have a much better device out there, and I think this thing could really take off from here.
All right. I dig it. Do they have sales at this point?
They do have sales. Yeah, they have $3 million in sales, and that's what people are looking for. They're like, okay, it's a big market cap. We want to see sales. Now you're seeing sales come in, and now you're going to really see sales explode. They're up, it's like 150%, but again, it's from such a small base. But now you're really going to see this where more and more orders are coming in. And even if you go to their news today, I think it was yesterday, they had a wrap in a real situation. And it saves lives, and you don't have to worry about it. It's great for police departments where a lot of them are getting sued. It's great for controversy. You eliminate all that. And the bottom line is, as crazy as people are, the last thing a cop wants to do is take out his gun and shoot somebody or fire it. And this eliminates that. So you have not just does this make sense when we're talking about it, but it makes sense from a political point of view on both sides of the aisle that they want this. And that's where I think you're going to see a tremendous growth here.
Okay. And then what about cash position?
Cash, they are levered up. They did a great financing when the stock was a lot higher. I think it's something like 35, 40 million in cash. They have a ton of cash. They brought on, actually, the CEO is the former, is the brother of the CEO of Taser. So this guy, which is cool, because he knows
really
all the markets. He knows all the risks that happen. I mean, you want to bring on a guy that made tons of mistakes before building a great company. This way, he can eliminate that, right? We all make mistakes.
Okay. And it was so the CEO of Rap is the brother of the CEO of Taser,
who was part of Taser. Yes.
All right,
which is now Axon. It's called Axon.
Yeah,
changed the name.
Yeah, that's great. Which is, I mean, Taser. It was pretty obvious what they did, but hey, they changed the name on us. Okay. All right, I dig it. And then this one, it sounds like similar to Turning. You're waiting to see how earnings flow through in this upcoming quarter. Is that fair to say?
Not this quarter. I think you're going to see it ramp up. I mean, this thing is going everywhere right now. It's going viral. You're seeing. I mean, they get millions and millions of hits because people are looking at this going, "Holy cow! Look at this device! Each guy just got shot by this." And the more you see that in situations where now they're testing it in the field, and when you look on their news, you can see probably in the past 2 weeks. I mean, there's like 3 or 4 of these things. You're going to see, more and more, and then the news outlets are getting a hold of it, and that's really going to, it's going to provide a lot of excitement because it's a great story. So I think this stock's going to take off. You're going to see sales come in. Once they do, then it's really, really going to go. And those sales are going to start pretty soon because, following the stock for 2 years, I'm an investor. I'm an investor in these guys. I'm not just throwing out names where I'm not an investor. You're going to see sales come in. But even that, it's more about everybody adopting this and seeing it personally because it looks really cool. The more people that see it, the more people want to buy the stock.
All right, I'm going to request one. I have the contact us form up on their website, requesting one for BZ offices. All right, I will volunteer to be the test subject there. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be a lot safer for you because they tell me, they're like, Frank, I think you're a little crazy that early. It was like a testing phase. I was like, thanks for letting me know. So they shot. And he counted the 3. He goes, all right, I got to count to 3. He goes 1, and he shot me. He goes, I don't want to wait for 3.
He doesn't want you to flinch.
Oh, it was great. I have a video of it and everything. It's pretty cool.
All right, that's great. All right, so that's our weekend reading. Is we have to go watch that video. And Frank, so you've dropped 2 ideas on us. This is the Power Hour. This is the Trade Idea Show. Everyone, that's what we do. We bring the ideas. Frank's here, a lot smarter than myself, dropping them today. First one that he brought, ticker TPB, Tango Papa Bravo. That's Turning Point. We're looking for the next quarterly earnings report there. After that, we talked about RAP, ticker WRAP, Whiskey Romeo Alpha Papa. That's like a police. I don't know what we call it. Is there like a device?
It's the only non-lethal.
There we go. Non-lethal
police device. Only non-lethal because it's less. The taser's called less than lethal because it has killed people. This is the only non-lethal device that's probably going to be on millions of police officers' belts within 12 to 18 months.
All right, I dig it. I'm behind it. All right, and Frank, do you have any more for us?
I'll give you one more. Well,
right,
and I gave it to you last time because, like I said, I'm a boots on the ground guy. U.S. Gold, USAU. So this is a company that recently restructured, and they have an amazing project that I visited personally in Wyoming. It's a copper and gold project. I went there and was able to actually pick up gold off of the floor. It's a project that's been valued. It's been around for a while in Wyoming since decades, but it was rated with these studies. I don't want to get too technical here, but you're looking at an asset that's currently worth on their books at $175 million. But the last time they got all this surveyed was a very long time ago. And that's based on gold at $1,250. Gold is $1,900. Copper is much, much, much higher now, near its highs. And they're coming out with a new study, which is public news, and they're re-rating. This thing's going to get re-rated, and where the market cap is, where it's around 80 million, this is going to be an asset that's probably 350 to 450 range, $50 million range. And it's not factored in. It's under the rate. Does trade on the NASDAQ.
And are they pulling gold out of the ground yet? Or are they own property, or what's the deal?
No. So what happens is this is a junior mining company with a great management team. They have someone that's been in Barrick for a very, very long time, for 20, 30 years. He says it's an amazing project. And they got the right people involved. They got the right politicians involved. They're in the right area of Wyoming, mining-friendly district. Everything's a go there. Even when I went there, the people who I was with, and I can't really mention too many of the names because it's a very high profile person. I was in Trump administration, met with the governor.
So you went with Kellyanne Conway.
Yes, how'd you guess? This person's probably actually a little bit more powerful than that, but especially when it comes to mining and permits and stuff. So, they did it right, and now they're going through their independent survey. And when that comes out, that pre-economic survey, it's going to show how much this property is worth, which you could see just by being there. And once it re-rates, I think this thing, it should be trading about $25, $30 right now. And not right now, and this is coming out, guys, probably in about 45 days. So, it's public news. And from me being there and seeing it, and I believe that this is going to get re-rated, and you're going to see amazing, amazing numbers, much better than was previously reported. And this is, many, many years ago.
All right, I got to show you guys something. So first of all, this is my cousin. I don't know if you can see Cutie Pie, but all right, the real thing I want to show you. Oh man, I don't know if it'll. It's sort of tough to see. All right, well, let's figure it out. But I was at a Bitcoin conference, and I don't know if you guys can tell like the size of this gold in my hand. There's a little gold piece there. Somebody was passing around. That's $500,000 of gold fit in my palm. I couldn't believe that it was. You get to $1 million worth of gold pretty freaking quickly. It's literally fitting in the palm of my hand. $500,000 worth of gold. It was 7 pounds. It was like a weird realization to make. Like, wow, this little bit of a precious metal is worth this much money. Yeah, it's heavy as hell too.
Gold is a tough industry. Real last thing here, because I don't want to get too technical. We're looking at inflation rise, and gold bugs are going to tell you to buy gold no matter what, right? For the last 50 years.
Yep.
Right now, I've never seen a better time to buy gold in my career, 25 plus years, because you have interest rate, you have inflation rising through the roof, but the Fed's keeping rates low. So what is that doing is the real interest rate, which counts for inflation, is at the lowest level since the 1970s, meaning that if you keep your money in a bank, you're losing money. That's when gold becomes a great store of value, much better than Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. I own it. We have security token. We're really into crypto here. We have a Curzio equity owners security token, which we're a publicly traded company because of that. I think there's other, reasons to buy Bitcoin, which is fine. I wouldn't call Bitcoin a store of value. Gold right now is a store of value. There's never been a greater time to put money in it. And you're going to see, you're seeing prices really break out around 1900, but they're going to go to 2,500. You could probably just throw a dart at some of these companies and you're going to make money. But this one with this positive news is going to be fantastic. And and I have a lot of money. It's one of my largest positions. So if I'm wrong, I'm going to lose a lot more money than everybody else out there, I think. So
yeah. And check this one out. Let me have my screen back here. So here's my live portfolio, right? Like my real interactive brokers account. I actually just went in on GLD probably 3 weeks ago now at this point. So somewhere in that range. I started a position there with the exact same thesis that you have. And I don't know the stocks, right? Like I don't know the mining stocks like you do. And that's where, it's the best option that I have when I'm in that position is I'm just going to buy the ETF. GLD is the probably, I believe it's the biggest ETF that tracks the price of gold by assets under management. But yeah, that's how I chose to get my exposure.
It's one of the toughest industries to invest in. It took me a good 10 years. I speak in Vancouver probably 3-4 times a year before COVID. Really got in deep within the industry, knowing the major players in there, some of the greatest investors within that industry. But it's an industry that out of every single sector that I cover, which I cover all these sectors, being in the market for such a long time, it's probably the most corrupt, where people really can get killed. There's a lot of BS, there's a lot of crazy stories that people are going to tell you. We just got a project right next to the biggest project in the world. They really don't tell you the full truth. So it's important to follow the right guys within this industry because you could really get killed. That's why personally I like visiting these sites, meeting the management team, and that's resulted in a lot of great winners within the space for us. So.
I believe it. Any other mining stocks while we're on it? I don't know if you have other favorites right now.
You know what? I'm going to be boring. Pick any of the majors. They may be.
So what is that like Newmont?
Barrick, Newmont. They may be the cheapest companies you could buy, considering how much they're growing right now. I don't know of any other sector I could say that. I mean, these things are still trading at 12, 13 times earnings. Their cost to produce are around $900. We're at $1,900. These guys are generating a massive amount of cash flow. And now, they're actually paying dividends. And at 12 times forward earnings, growing earnings 30, 40% plus. I mean, you're not going to find stock. I know gold is kind of boring for everybody, but if you want like on a risk adjusted basis and say, hey, you know what, I'm looking to generate some money here. I mean, these stocks have never been stronger in the history of this industry than they are right now. And they have tons of cash. They're purchase any project out there. I mean, just shooting out cash flow. Like their technology. I mean, their margins are almost similar to I wouldn't say technology companies with 90% margins, but their margins are some of the greatest out of all industries because they can produce at such a low price and low cost.
Yeah. And what was the old Barrick Gold symbol? It's like it's escaping my mind right now.
So Barrick Gold is GOLD.
It's GOLD now. It wasn't always though. If anybody in the chat knows, this is going to bother me for the rest of the day unless somebody can come up with this answer. Okay.
I want to say it was like AB extras.
I think it was AB. So I would keep wanting to say AB.
Was it ABX? ABX?
No, that's not right.
No. I don't remember AB. Doesn't no, I'm not too sure, but that's a good question.
All right. That's the trivia question of the day. All right. I'm going to put a bounty on this one too. Okay. Anybody, whoever gets this ticker, the first person to get it right, you have to email SpencerIsrael@benzinga.com and you'll get free Benzinga merchandise.
Spencer Israel is here. Spencer Israel is here, and he's right. It was ABX.
All right.
ABX.
So Spencer, go take a T-shirt out of the back room then.
Thanks, Luke.
That was easy.
There we go. Cool. Awesome, man. Frank, any final words of wisdom for us? Or if you have any commentary, any thoughts on like the AMCs or the GMEs as well, I'm going to be getting into those stocks next after you hop off. But if you have anything to say on them, we'd love to hear it.
I do really quick. You know, I'm watching TV today and just whatever, if it's CNBC, whatever you're watching, Fox Business News or Benzingers or whatever. Yeah, but on these programs, it's almost like that they're making fun of some of these names. It's almost like that they don't understand these names. They don't understand why they're going up. Even when they're talking about inflation, they don't really understand. They're like, oh, it's going to be transitory, which means it's going to be pretty brief. You have more power than the people on Wall Street. You're a retail investor. What I mean by that is you see things real time. The people on TV, they go on TV every day. They're not in the field like me. They're not in the field like you. And when I say in the field, it is, you know, what looking at the economy, don't think about bell curves and stuff like that. But you see the price of milk is, you know, your next door neighbor is a city worker and he just got a Mercedes. I mean, you see all these trends. You see inflation before everybody else, before economists. And now, even with these meme stocks and Wall Street bets, the fact that, you know, you have that power where, for me, being in Wall Street for 25 years, and the reason why I started this company, Curzio Research, is to help out retail investors. It's hard to get into that inner circle and have access to the ideas that they have. It took me a long time to do that. Now you guys have that access with this massive pool of people. So I love what you guys are doing. I think it's fantastic. And, you know, again, don't listen to anybody else and tell you you're crazy, because right now you're probably outperforming some of the leading fund managers out there. So good for you guys.
Awesome. And Frank, very last thing before we have to move on, how do folks stay in touch?
So to stay in touch, you can listen to my Wall Street Unplugged podcast. I've been doing it for 14 years before anyone knew what a podcast was. Now everybody has a podcast these days, I think. But you can go to wsupodcast.com, and we do it once a week. And I've been interviewing people on a weekly basis for 14 years, professionals like Jason was on not too long ago. Hopefully he'll join us again. But we always have lots and lots of ideas, and it's a really cool show. But I put a lot of effort into it. So that's the easiest way to find me.
Awesome. Yeah, I haven't been invited yet. But all right, Frank, thanks for joining us. Good having you as always. Drop in the ideas. And you know, happy trading.
All right. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Take care. All right, everybody. There we go. There's Frank. This is the Power Hour. This is the Trade Idea Show. Quick recap. He dropped us 3 ideas. The first one, vaping play, ticker TPV. Number 2, non-lethal police enforcement, ticker WRAP. And the last one, gold USAU. And I Joey G in the chat, I see you saying, can we have Peter on now? I think that we can make that happen. All right. I always deliver. If there's one thing I can promise, it's not my stock picks, but I can promise that I will always deliver. So let's do it. Let's bring Peter back onto the Power Hour. Peter, what's going on, man?
What's
Happy
going on?
Thursday.
How are you?
Doing well. Coasting through this week. It's sunny out. SPY is up a little bit, you know.
It's good to be back with you. It's been a little bit.
I know, too long in my opinion. And I gotta say, first things first, you have the best background picture of any Twitter account. Check that one out. on the screen right there. If you guys aren't following Peter, go do that. Here you got his handle right there. But I mean, this is pretty badass. I like that picture there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. No doubt.
Awesome. So all right, man. What's going on in your world? What are some of the things you're looking at? Take us through today a little bit.
So, Luke, I hate to say it, but like I know this is like a stock picking show and everything, but like I feel like I'm gonna be like the water on the campfire. I have to apologize in advance. It's not that I don't have picks. I have ideas I can give you. I want to focus. Did Aaron by any chance send you the 2 pictures that I sent over?
I'm sure he did. Let me go grab them.
Share it with you. I was going to see if you could share it.
Yep. Let me see if I can go grab them.
Yeah, because that way we can just kind of set some context as to where we are exactly in this market right now, from a higher level picture, and then we can kind of drill down into where there may or may not be some ideas.
All righty. I'm looking.
He might not have sent it. That's all right. If not, I'll just tell you what I'm seeing.
Yep. Why don't you just tell us what you're seeing? Aaron's actually off-site doing an in-person interview today.
All right. So obviously you've been watching the markets this week. Like everybody, we've kind of been in balance, right? Like outside of today, you've had 4 days, and I'm just kind of glancing over here to see the range. Let's call it 42.05 to 42.32 or so, right? We all know that the market hasn't moved, and it's been kind of stuck on this S&P 4,200 area. And it's been these 4 days. I call that a balance area, which is really important. And basically, whenever you have a balance area, whenever the market's in balance, so to speak, where prices are relatively unchanged, values unchanged, bulls and bears are in agreement as to what's fair for the moment, you're either going to do one of a few things. You're going to break out of that balance to the upside and keep going. You're going to break out to the upside and fall back in, or you're going to fall down below the lower end of balance. Obviously, we didn't do that. We broke out to the upside today. But it was kind of noteworthy to me that we had this kind of break earlier today, about an hour ago or so, a couple hours, where we kind of fell back down into that range. I personally thought that shouldn't have happened. Now we're kind of back out of it. Here I'm noting that we're trading 42.40 now, so we're back out of it. But I think that's something that people should carry forward in the short term, and that, we shouldn't have fallen out of it. Where today closes, I think, is going to be super important. I think also that the entire world is looking at what happened this morning with the inflation numbers and the jobless claims. And everybody was kind of looking for an answer that they liked. And I think the market gave them an answer that they liked without getting into the specifics of what it was or what it wasn't. It's obvious that investors liked it. So my point is kind of that in order for stocks to keep going, obviously investors have to keep liking it. And so it's very important, I think, for everybody to just watch everything very, very closely and watch all these nuances. Make sure that we stay above this balance area going forward. If I could simplify it, the best way for anybody is simply the high of these last 4 days. If the market falls below it tomorrow, or even again this afternoon, I would seriously recommend that people maybe trim some longs and forget about new ideas and adopt more of a wait and see attitude. Because the number one thing I think you want to pay attention to in the market always is knowing what should happen, right? And everybody sees the same thing. So everybody's thinking, aha, we're finally breaking out of this balance, and then paying very, very close attention to when that thing that should happen doesn't. Because when that thing that should happen doesn't, when the whole world thinks it should happen, you can be very sure that the opposite is going to happen, right? Because everybody's going to change their minds en masse at the exact same time. Everybody's in the same boat. Everybody sees the 4 days. We're waiting on the CPI. Great, it's over with. Bye, bye, bye. I'm just saying, right? So keep that in mind. That's what I would say to everybody out there, is to watch this 42.30 to 42.40 area very closely in the S&P for the rest of today and tomorrow and next week.
All right, and Peter, I'm the slow guy down on the show. I slow everybody down. Mm-hmm. So basically, the level that you're calling out, while we're sort of in the sideways range, is the high of the first 4 days of the week.
Absolutely.
If we move below that either this afternoon or tomorrow, look out below, because we could be in for some trouble. Is that a fair summary?
I would say that's a fair summary. Basically, what the theory of how you treat balance tells us that if you look above and fail and you find some acceptance back within the range, then the odds increase that you could rotate back to the lower end of that range, which would mean it would put the futures back down to roughly low 4,200s, right? 420205, et cetera. I'm still talking about the M contract, by the way. I always take an extra day to switch. I know there's a lot of people out there that may be trading ES that have already switched to the U contract. I tend to always do that one day later for a number of reasons. But, obviously for volume and for, I'm looking at profiles. I need everything to build out with the new contract. So, but, that's essentially it, I think.
And let me ask this follow-up question too.
Mm-hmm.
So if we do move into that some of that downside, right? We're moving to the lower end of the range.
Mm-hmm.
How long of a move is that? Is that like a couple day move that you're talking about? Is it longer than that, shorter than that, et cetera?
So that's a fantastic question. So that would happen in terms of going to the opposing end of balance. That would happen very quickly because it's not very far. I mean, we're at 42.40, so we both know we could do 40 handles in a day. Maybe that takes a day and a half, 2 days or whatever. What happens after that is anybody's guess. It's not necessarily, 100% known or that you can deduce from that we would go lower from there. I'm really just kind of concerned about this particular juncture and whether or not it gives us sort of a green light or yellow light going forward. So for me, coming back into that range, it's still a little bit of a yellow light. I'd like to see some acceptance above it. And obviously, like you were saying, if we rotate down to the bottom, we have to completely reassess. Remember, moving below that balance area is going to obviously create overhead supply from all the people in the balance area, right? I mean, they're all kind of stuck in it when they were battling it out between the bulls and bears of those 4 days. Any balance area that moved below, you have to assume there's some overhead supply there. So I would think we see a little bit lower, but we shall see.
Okay. All right. And I know that you mentioned that there were 2 images that I should have gotten, didn't get, our fault.
Not a big deal.
We'll take the fall for that one.
That's all right.
Was that spy, were both images looking at this spy move?
One of
or
the
is there something
images
else we
was
should rotate
looking
to?
at ES futures, but it was charted using market profile. And the reason I wanted to show you that is only because it gives more of an added element of time as opposed to just price and volume. So the day's price is distributed left to right, so you can kind of see how those 4 days stack up and how it's really, coiling up at that level. That's all that was really.
Okay, excellent.
And the other chart actually I sent you was Bitcoin, so I'd like to talk about crypto as we get a little further on. So
let's do it.
Pull up that chart yourself.
You want to hop into crypto?
Absolutely. Yeah, we can
right.
because I had a few ideas I want to discuss with you. If you don't mind, do you mind if we just pull back for 1 second? Can I just talk a little bit more about what I just talked about with that other stuff?
Please.
Absolutely. Okay.
Floor is yours.
Yeah, I just wanted you to, and you can pull up some charts. It'd be cool if you could drive because this will maybe
I got
drive
you.
the point home better. Can you pull up, please, XLV for me, which is the healthcare index? That's an ETF that tracks healthcare.
And let me ask you this one too before you get too far into it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know whether or not this owns Biogen?
I do not. I'm sorry. I don't know the components off the top of my head. But you can just people can just Google that if they like XLV components. But Luke, can you switch it over to a daily?
Yep. So here's 1 year daily candles right here.
Okay, fantastic, perfect. So right off the bat, I mean, anybody who knows TA 101 would tell you this looks fantastic, and I have to agree. These stocks are on fire, and it looks good. It's not a playground that I move around in too much. I'm more of a tech stock player and some indices, but it looks fantastic. But the reason I wanted to talk about it is because this makes up about 14% of the S&P. So let's just keep that in mind. This is about 14% of the S&P 500, and it looks great. So you would expect that this is going to have some tailwind to the S&P going up. But at the same time, pull up XLK, which is Infotech.
Right.
On the daily.
XLK,
right? And this is
pretty
much
all 1 year chart daily candles right here, guys.
Exactly. So obvious lower high. And when I see a lower high like this, I'm thinking, okay, it's kind of acting as a drag. And then pull up XLF financials, which is about 10% of the S&P, and it's a really important one. And if you can make it a little bit bigger, I just wanted to point out, look at what today looks like in financials. And that's about 10% of the S&P. So, so just in these 3 charts, the point I'm trying to make is that the market is not very rah-rah to the upside because the S&P is only going to do what all of the 11 sectors that make up the S&P are going to do. And the ones I just showed you collectively make up about half of the S&P. So financials are going down. Healthcare is going up. That's 14%. And I'm not 100% sold on what tech is doing. So again, this is not a bearish call in any way. This is just my way of saying it's to me, it's not all that rosy out there. I've been preaching a more or less tentative stance, a cautiously bullish stance for some time now with my subscribers, and it's been working very well. We've been sort of dipping a toe here and there. We've been selling some credits, not getting too aggressive.
And so you sound like my favorite Federal Reserve line, cautiously optimistic.
Right.
I started using that like in my normal life, with my girlfriend, like, how are you doing today? I'm cautiously optimistic.
I just hope that's not the answer when she's like, are we staying together or like, what are we doing? Oh, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic.
We're ready to respond to changing market conditions.
Right.
I wanted to jump in, Peter, and just ask you. Can we go back to the Bitcoin though? Because we
absolutely.
Yeah, we sort of got off that. So I'll bring up a chart here. But where are you going to go on the Bitcoin thread?
On the Bitcoin, where I was going to go is two key levels that I'm seeing right now. I think the rally on the El Salvador news is quite bullish. It would be really cool if another country, could be anyone, stepped up to the plate and said, hey, me too. We're going to try that too. I mean, certainly there's a lot of countries in that, in that realm that, could, it would benefit them, whatever the case. But from a key technical level, what's super important is that this rally took us up to 38,000. And I'm just going to grab my chart here so I can follow along. We just went as high as, what did we do? We did 38,460 on this move. And we're pulling back a little bit now. We're at about 36.9. That 38,460 was important because that's a short-term trend line from exactly about May 20th. And the reason I want to talk about that level, which is important, is because May 20th was a time period when May 20th was the last time that Bitcoin rallied to 42,000 before failing. And it rallied to that 42,000 and also sold off to it multiple times. As I look at the futures chart, I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 significant tests from the upside and the downside of the 42,000 level. It's about 42.3. And that to me is very, very important. So I've been saying for a while that the tone overall in crypto does not change until Bitcoin retakes 42.5. And I remain with that thesis. And then beyond that, like I was saying, is from a more micro level, this move over 38 today, and we just kind of tested it and fell back. I call it a baby step. I sent out a tweet earlier today with a picture of crossing this trend line at the 38 and saying, hey, baby steps. Because that short-term trend line does matter, and crossing over that 38, maybe getting some acceptance there, trading 39, I think would help in opening the door to that 42. But that 42 is the real key. That's where I think everybody needs to keep their focus, because I'm a straight TA guy, and it's very simple. Any price level that attracts price multiple times, tests and rejects multiple times, more than twice, is important. That is market-generated information. The market is telling you something. It doesn't matter the reason at all why that price matters. The why means zero. The fact is that's the price, and that's what I'm seeing in the chart around 42.3.
And I love that because you're not saying it's going to go up, it's going to go down. You're saying, hey, if it gets above, it's probably going up. If it stays below, it's probably not. It's
absolutely no reason to get aggressive to me until we see that area.
Right. Scenario analysis. That's the name, and that's the name of your game, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great point. Are there other cryptos you're watching right now, or
I don't watch a lot of the cryptos. I say a lot because there's so many, but I do watch Ether a lot, and I am long Ether. And I have a pretty sizable position in Ether from the pullback to the 1600s. I think my basis is somewhere between 1650 and 1700. So that's still doing okay. I'm not sure where it is now, maybe 24-ish, 25. I like that chart better, to be honest with you. But everybody knows Bitcoin to me is kind of like the tail that wags the dog, or it's the dog, I should say, right? And everything else is the tail. So
at the start, you said you were going to rain on our parade and put up a caution yellow light. At least with regards to the overall market,
Yeah, absolutely.
The S&Ps. The S&Ps have been boring, though. Let's in the few minutes we have left talk about where all the action is, which is an AMC and all those guys. Are you dipping your toe in the water, or are you saying not for me?
Not for me, really. Not for me. I'm an options player mostly. I do day trade equities quite a bit. But when I day trade equities, I stick to what I know. So I have a very small handful that I feel I know very well how they move. Amazon is one of them. Apple is another one. Facebook is another. Every now and then Google. I stick to a very small universe for day trading equities. The stuff that's hot for just like one day, don't get me wrong. Every now and then I will jump on the bandwagon if I see a good pullback that I like or something really high odds. But in general, it's not my cup of tea. I don't play the meme stocks.
That's another great point. Is you've found your bread and butter. You for whatever reason you've developed a feel for how these things move, how they trade. That's the result of screen time, I would assume, a lot of it. And you don't stray from that. And if it means you trade the same things every day, then you trade the same things every day.
That's right. That's right. You tend to learn their personality over time, and you'll just know and understand much clearer what's a fake out, what's not a fake out, how some of those stocks start to move ahead of the futures or in spite of the futures. There was a day, and not that long ago, I can't remember where, I even alerted people to this. I was saying, watch Amazon. It's going to fall apart. It's going to fall apart. And like by the end of the day, I think it tanked like $30 or whatever. But what was important about the alert was the fact that the market was moving hard to the upside at the time, and especially the NQs. This was maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, and NQs were so strong. And the whole day that the QQQ is moving up, Amazon is just flatlining. It's just flatlining, and every uptick is just met with selling. It's things like that you start to realize, how they alert, how they act. And with a BlackBerry or GameStop or AMC, these are things that are just hot momentarily. You can't, I don't know that you can really learn that. It's a little bit more of a gamble, and another thing that I really dislike about those meme stocks is the halting. That just would drive me crazy. I tend to trade pretty heavy, so I'm not going to be in a position of literally multiple thousands of shares and have that thing halt on me. I would go out of my mind. And you as you know, AMC will halt 5 times a day. I mean, God knows where it's going to open when they open.
Hey, listen, some say it's a feature, not a bug. But look, different strokes for different folks. There's a million ways to go about this. Your way is probably the way for more longevity, even if it sacrifices fun in the short term. Well, what some people would call fun, others would call gambling, but tomato.
That's very well said.
Tomato, potato. It's all the same.
That's very well said.
All right, Peter. We'll let you go. Any final thoughts for us before we wrap up?
I heard Luke was discussing a little bit about gold with the gentleman who was on prior.
Right.
I think I'm bullish on gold long term. I will just say that. I do have a position in it now. I've always held a long term position in the physical forever. That's been gathering dust in my safe deposit box for God knows how long, over a decade. And I just think it's I try to say this all the time, at least a little bit, whenever I appear on programs, that it would just make sense for investors, especially in the sort of environment that we're in, where everybody fears inflation. And I think everybody knows that at least something is going to happen on that front, to have some allocation to gold in their portfolio, be it just 5%, 10%, whatever. But I think it makes sense. And from a chart perspective, it's finally starting to wake up for the first time in a long time, right? I mean, we know that it's been asleep for a long time, and it's finally starting to wake up. It actually broke trend on May 14th. If you want to look at that chart, that was a very important day for the metal.
Is this in the futures? Is that what we're talking about?
No, you can just do GLD daily. You can just do it would show you on a continuous futures, but the ETF is just fine.
Yeah, well,
not a problem.
Maybe there's this indicator as well. For the first time, and I don't even know how long this morning, I have my charts up on one monitor, and I've got room for 12, and I put gold, the features, back on today just because I was like, hey, I haven't looked at gold for like a while. Yeah, I put it back on, and maybe that's an indicator, because I was like, I've got some futures, I got some stocks, only got 12 up though, and gold is back in the rotation.
I think it's absolutely an indicator. If only for you, right? But think about it, but still, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people have done that as well. I certainly started looking at it more, but anyway, I don't know if you have the time, but if you want to look at the chart, May 14th or May 17th, excuse me, is the day.
Let's check this
on a GLD daily.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. Let's check it. Give me 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Okay.
There it is. Yeah, so May 17th was the day where the downtrend broke. And when I say the downtrend, I mean all the way from the August 6th, 2020 downtrend. If you look at the top on August 6th, if you draw that line and you connect over to the January 5th of this year, that trend line will take you out to about 172-ish. And like I said, that broke mid-May. And I think that was important because you're talking about a very, very long-term trend. Long-term, kind of long-term pullback.
All right. If you want more Peter, shadowtrader.net. The link is up on the screen. The link is in the description. Twitter is in the description. Peter, thank you so much for joining us today on the Power Hour.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it. You guys take care.
All right. Have a good one. I do like him. I gotta say, I do like him. Full disclosure, I've never actually met Peter before just now, but I do like him very much. I will have to get Peter on my show, pre-market prep one day. Okay, it's 1:02. Wow, we're running a few minutes late. That's okay. Get Technical with Neil Hamilton is about to start. Guys, if you missed, we've had a jam-packed day today. I'm exhausted, okay? We had pre-market prep. We had Joel and I. We had Robert Roy in his first time on the in the morning time slot. He was on from 9:25 till 10:25, and he was live trade. He was trading, and he was just walking through setups, really option setups for the day. We had Sandy Monroe, Benzinga's very first remote live stream. Jason Raznick had Sandy on the Raz Report. The guy is like an engineering guru, a car guru. That was great. We had Spax Attack. They had a great guest, and now we had a couple great guests here on the Power Hour. So the day is young. We are still going. Get Technical with Neil Hamilton is starting. I presume right now. Let me check before I hop off. I just want to make sure they're actually live, because I feel like I'm the only person trying to hold this thing together. He is live. He said, okay, they're live. I'm going to hop. Guys, drop us a like. All right. Like button, subscribe, do all that good stuff. pro.benzinga.com, free 2-week trial. Get Technical with Neil Hamilton starting right now.